Greetings, I'm Betty, a 32-year-old woman who recently escaped from a harmful marriage. Ending things with my ex-husband felt like reclaiming my freedom. Let me share the story of Henry, my ex. We initially met on a set-up blind date organized by a friend. Henry was charming and handsome, fitting the description of my dream partner. We had 8 pleasant months of casual dating before deciding to make it official. Our time together was always full of joy and adventure. As we grew closer, we decided to live together 2 years into our relationship. During this time, I found out about Henry's money challenges. Despite my suggestions, his career didn't improve much. It wasn't a big worry at first because he could manage on his own. After dating for 5 years, we decided to tie the knot and even purchased a house. We used my name for the mortgage since my credit score was better, a choice I'm grateful for now. Around 3 years into marriage, I began to notice changes in Henry's behavior. He became more demanding and stopped pitching in with household chores, blaming work for his actions. This was a departure from our earlier fair distribution of responsibilities. Because I knew how exhausting work could be, I made an effort to handle all the household chores. However, it became overwhelming for me at times. I discussed it with Henry, and he would promise to help, but 3 weeks later, we were back to the starting point. It was frustrating, but I overlooked it because of my love for Henry. I wanted to support him in every possible way. This routine continued for around 5 years. Of course, our relationship faced challenges, especially in terms of going out and having fun. I simply didn't have the time or energy for such activities. Surprisingly, I discovered Henry was cheating on me. One day, his phone was left unlocked while he was in the shower, and I unintentionally noticed a message from someone named Carol. She was asking Henry when he would leave his supposedly prophetic wife to meet her in a nearby motel. I was shocked and devastated. I never expected Henry to cheat on me. Our marriage seemed fine, he greeted me warmly every night, and we rarely had any fights. Feeling my world crumble, I decided to confront the issue. I left Henry's phone as it was, letting him discover that I knew about the affair when he checked his phone after the shower. He tried to avoid the conversation, but the truth was out in the open. I wasn't going to let that happen, you know? I discovered that you were having an affair. Let's talk about it. I don't think we should. Who is she? You must have seen enough to know her name. When did it start? About 2 years ago. Can we not do this seriously? Why did you start seeing her, honey? Let's not do this. Don't call me honey. Tell me. I don't know why I'm doing it. Okay, I guess I just missed the excitement of dating someone who's on the same page as me. So, I'm not on the same page as you? Well, I wouldn't say that exactly. You've just become dull. Excuse me? I mean, you never want to go out, and when we do, there are no fun plans. You're always tired, and our intimate life is practically non-existent. Can you see that I often feel exhausted because I handle all the tasks and work? I've never seen you offer to lend a hand. As my partner, it's important for you to share the responsibilities. I suggested you stay at home, but you didn't agree. However, that doesn't mean you can't help with household tasks. I may be the one leading the household, but it doesn't give me the right to do whatever I want. If you're seeking enjoyment and it leads to cheating, I don't think that's the solution. I wanted to chat about us and try to make things better, but it seems like that won't work. I don't see you becoming more interesting. I still want to be married, but I'll spend time with Carol. I need a break from you, so I'll sleep in a different room. I just couldn't stand being around Henry anymore. As he talked, it was clear he didn't feel sorry. He made it really obvious that he didn't see me as important. Henry used to have modern views on gender roles, but lately he seemed to have changed. I suspected it had something to do with the podcasts he was listening to, where men expressed outdated opinions about women. It saddened me to see Henry become one of those men without even realizing it. One day, as I heard the main door open and close, I knew Henry had left to meet his mistress. That's when I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. Feeling alone and hurt, I called my best friend Laura for comfort. Laura, hearing me cry over the phone, rushed over with tubs of ice cream. She silently held me, offering support without asking questions. Eventually, when I gathered myself, I opened up to her about Henry cheating on me. She was shocked but wanted to know how I found out. I explained that I saw a message on his unlocked phone from a woman asking when he was leaving his prophetic wife to meet her. I confronted Henry about it, and despite his reluctance to talk, he eventually admitted to a year-long affair. His reason? He found me boring because I was always tired and didn't do anything fun with him. Laura couldn't believe it, pointing out that I already did everything around the house. Henry, however, thought it was my duty as a wife. Frustrated and hurt, I shared with Laura that Henry didn't even apologize. Instead, he blamed me and spent the night with his mistress. Laura agreed that his argument was senseless, especially considering his own responsibilities. I couldn't bear the sight of him, and I expressed my frustration, unsure of what to do next. I felt like throttling him, but guess what I'm thinking about now? Honestly, I'm not sure. Henry said he's okay with marriage, but I'm totally not into that. Okay, I'll assist you with everything afterward. How about crashing at my place until things calm down? That'd be awesome. Appreciate it, Laura. I'll support you no matter what. Betty, we chilled out for the rest of the night, enjoying some of our favorite movies. Although I still remembered what happened, I tried to take my mind off it. The next morning, Laura assisted me in packing my stuff to bring over to her house. Once there, I made the not-so-smart choice to check out Carol. Since I had access to Henry's social media on my phone, I couldn't resist snooping around to find out more about her. I never really felt the need to snoop around his social media because there was never a reason to. However, I discovered that he had turned off notifications for messages from Carol, which explained why I was completely unaware of their affair until now. As it turns out, Carol was a colleague of his, specifically working under him at the company. She was only 22, making her a decade younger than me and 10 years younger than Henry. That detail just added to my discomfort. If anything, this confirmed my choice to end the marriage. Before I decided to get a divorce, I wanted to organize my stuff. Laura and I talked about how to deal with Henry because we didn't want to let him off easily. First, I took out all the money I had put into our shared account and moved it to my personal one, where Henry couldn't touch it. The next step was filing for divorce. It took a few days to sort everything out, and during that time, I didn't hear anything from Henry. It hurt to realize he didn't even care about my well-being. But then again, what could I expect from someone who didn't see any value in me? I had to go back home to pick up more of my things. When I arrived, I found Henry sitting on the couch. As he saw me, he walked over and asked where I had been. I was taken aback and wondered why I should share my whereabouts with him. I expressed my frustration, mentioning how worried I had been without receiving a single phone call from him. In response, Henry became confrontational, calling me a jerk. I explained that I had recently discovered my husband was cheating on me because he found me boring. He seemed unapologetic about it, and I couldn't help but be sarcastic in my response. Henry showed concern about a large withdrawal I made from our joint account, to which I defended my right to use the money I had contributed. Our argument escalated as Henry demanded I return the money within 2 hours, threatening consequences if I didn't comply. I stood my ground, stating that I wouldn't tolerate his behavior and was willing to take drastic measures, even considering living with my sister and leaving him. Henry dismissed it as absurd. After that, I chose not to engage further and silently went to our room, packed the remaining belongings, and headed to Laura's place. There, I shared the whole incident with her, and she rightfully suggested consulting a lawyer. Laura had a friend who was a lawyer, and we sought advice. When asked about the house, I clarified that it was solely in my name, both the mortgage and the title. This arrangement was due to my well-paying job in a niche field. I earned 3 times more than Henry easily. We thought it made sense to use that money to buy a house. Since it was my money, the house was under my name. The lawyer assured me that even if we divorced, the house would still be mine. If Henry's sister moved in without my consent, I could simply evict her. Relieved by this information, I felt secure. Henry called the next morning, informing me that his sister had moved in because I hadn't deposited the money back into our joint account. Despite his frustration, I stayed calm. Following the lawyer's advice, I began recording our conversations for potential evidence. With 2 possible outcomes, I devised a plan. I could give Henry's sister Emma the eviction notice, and she might move out. If not, I could sue her. Either way, I was confident I would win. Knowing Emma's history of hostility towards me, I anticipated the latter scenario. We never got along, and she often tried to outdo me in everything. Our conflicts had led to me limiting contact with her, only interacting when Henry insisted, as he was overly protective and indulgent towards her. It was quite disheartening when she found out about my achievements. Instead of feeling happy for me, she became upset and envious. Whenever she came over, she would quietly take my fancy clothes, shoes, and skincare items. Her brother Henry would ask me not to confront her, thinking she deserved a taste of luxury in her simple life. I didn't quite agree, but I let it go. Eventually, the situation worsened, leading me to decide not to allow her to visit anymore. Henry and his sister weren't pleased with the ban. Even though Henry begged, I held my ground because Emma had taken a lot from me. Later, she moved into my place and bragged about it over the phone. "Hi, Betty, what's up? Remember when you banned me from visiting?" "Yes, because you took a bunch of stuff worth thousands from me." "Who cares about that? Guess where I am now? Henry said you moved out." "Yep, I have this big, amazing house all to myself, something you don't have. I believe I still own the house. I've sent a notice asking you to leave, and you have 5 days to move out. You're evicting me? I won't comply. This is my brother's place, and he said I can stay, so I will. Actually, it's not his property. Sure, it's shared due to marriage, but he holds the authority, and he thinks this is the best decision. But that doesn't justify. Wow, you really love to talk, don't you? No wonder my brother chose someone else. Well, I have nothing more to say. Goodbye. I ended the call after hearing Emma laugh on the other end. If she didn't leave in 5 days, I was ready to take legal action. Henry, likely informed by Emma, confronted me an hour later, angry about the eviction notice. Despite his outburst, I stayed silent. Over the next 5 days, 2 significant things occurred. First, I had divorce papers sent to Henry, who decided to contest it. Second, Emma hadn't moved out, so I legally served her with a court summons. Legally, she was a squatter, and she was surprised to learn the house was in my name, not her brother's. When Emma got the summons, she accused me of trickery. I reminded her that I had given her ample warning. In court, my lawyer presented evidence, including eviction notices and recorded phone calls of me telling Emma to leave. Squatting is taken seriously in my state, so Emma was charged with a Class A misdemeanor and fined $800. Seeing her defeated in court after 3 years of patience was satisfying. After the legal matter settled, Henry and Emma approached me at Laura's house to confront me. They accused me of mistreating Emma. I defended myself, pointing out that Emma had been causing trouble for years. The satisfaction of putting an end to it all made enduring the wait worth it. When Henry claimed he only helped Emma because she had nowhere else to go, I reminded him that pulling her into this mess was his choice, not mine. I was helping her, and suddenly the house became an option because we were on the brink of breaking up. If we hadn't, she might have secretly moved into the house. Spare me the details, Henry. I don't want to hear any more. I'll just meet you in court. How did the house end up in your name? Your brother's name isn't on any of the paperwork, and I've been the one covering the mortgage and handling repairs for the past 6 years. No matter how much your brother disputes it in court, he won't gain any ownership of the house. All he'll end up with is a lighter wallet. I'm convinced you set him up. I didn't do anything wrong. Your brother likes to act like he's in charge at home, but he prefers to avoid the tough tasks and enjoy the rewards. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with this situation anymore. Farewell to both of you. I closed the door firmly, and that marked the conclusion of our interactions. In the following weeks, Henry tried to take control of everything we owned. But I wasn't concerned because I had proof of purchase for the furniture he desired, and he would only get what he actually paid for, which wasn't a lot. As he was busy staking his claim on our belongings, I shared evidence of his inappropriate relationship with Carol with Henry's workplace. In just 2 weeks, he got fired, but surprisingly, Carol remained employed. Later, I learned from Henry's co-workers that she had falsely accused him of coercing her into the relationship by threatening to withhold work projects if she resisted. Predictably, their relationship didn't endure. After a few months, the divorce was finally done, and I was officially liberated. I chose to concentrate on my job and had a great time celebrating with Laura for accomplishing 2 things together. The latest news I got was that Henry and Emma were sharing a not-so-great apartment and were still on the lookout for jobs. Their folks gave them a limited budget and didn't like what they picked. Even my in-laws called to say sorry for how they acted. Now that I have my freedom, I'm excited about what life has in store for me. Through it all, I realized the importance of remembering my value and that I won't let anyone take advantage of me. Cheers to new beginnings.